We are on the flight deck of the USS Nimitz. Check it out. Down with TTT. The USS Nimitz. Wow, guys, what a pleasure it was to be able to take a tour of this amazing U.S. Navy carrier. Did you know that she is actually the first of her class? You probably heard the word Nimitz referred to as a class of carrier. And that's why, because the Nimitz was the very first U.S. Navy supercarrier and the lead ship of her class. She's one of the largest warships in the world. She was laid down, launched, and commissioned on June 30th, 1975 as CVAN 68, but was later redesignated CVN 68 to nuclear-powered multi-mission aircraft carrier. And it was part of the fleet realignment in 1975. Nimitz was home-ported at Naval Station Norfolk in Virginia up until 1987, and then she was relocated to the Naval Station Bremerton in Washington State, now part of the Naval Base Kitsap. The USS Nimitz was named after Chester William Nimitz, born on February 24, 1885, passed away February 20th, 1966. Nimitz was the fleet admiral in the United States Navy, and he played a major role in the naval history of World War II as Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Pacific Fleet, as well as the Commander-in-Chief of the Pacific Ocean areas. He led the Allies in both air and sea forces.
Uss Nimitz.
When you happy, right? When you happy.
I'm happy.
No, I went to your.
Sure,
Ooh, nice.
There's pizza in there today.
Pizza? Oh my God. Krispy Kreme donuts?
Can I put this on?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Good job, ladies. Good job. What is it? Chicken?
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
Also helping us on this tour will be Chief Susan Lewis.
Hi, Chief.
She's one of our media chiefs. And so we're gonna show you around a little bit. We'll go up to the hangar bay, kind of show you the hangar bay, get up close and personal with some of our jets. And then for those that want to, we'll go up to the flight deck and take a look around and kind of see the view from up there. Take as many photos and videos as you would like. Take as many pictures as you would like next to aircraft. Feel free to talk to any sailors that we're passing. And then after we go to the flight deck, we'll come back to the hangar bay, and they've got a table set up if anyone wants to buy any souvenirs.
Gangway. Gangway. Yeah. Smart dogs. Very smart dogs, huh? Thank you for your service.
How are you?
American Legion, Patia.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Wow.
I'll talk about a few things before you guys take a look around and whatnot. So I don't want to insult some of your intelligence, but I'm going to kind of give a broad overview. So where we're standing right now is Hangar Bay 2. It's broken up into 3 different hangar bays. So we have Hangar Bay 1, which is this first quadrant. We're currently in Hangar Bay 2. And then you have Hangar Bay 3 all the way in the back. It's not normally this empty. So for those of you that know, the other night we had a big top reception. So we had all the flags up, the carpet was laid down, and so it was whenever we pull into ports, we do the big receptions for ambassadors and dignitaries. So that happened Wednesday night, so they're still kind of cleaning up from that. But on board Nimitz, we have about 5,000 personnel. That includes the air wing and ship's company. So the ship itself is based out of Bremerton, Washington, and then the majority of our air wing is based out of Southern California. So every time the ship leaves from Washington, we have to stop down in San Diego for a few days and load up the air wing before then we head west and go out and about. On board the carrier, we can have up to 70 aircraft. We have about 8 squadrons on board, which makes about 40 to 50 of the aircraft F-18s. So we have F-18 Super Hornets. This is actually a Growler. So this is an EA-18, so electronic attack. And then all the others you'll see are fighter attacks. You can tell the difference by the wing tips on the end, and then they have jammer pods underneath the wing, so that's how you can tell the difference. You'll kind of notice that some of these birds are painted a little differently. So the first aircraft in each of the squadron, typically the 100, 200, is called the showbird, so they're painted a little prettier. They still function the same, it's kind of like the mascot of the squadron. You'll kind of notice the basically 4 windows and 4 balconies all around. Those are our aircraft elevators, or known as ACEs. That's what we use to transport aircraft between the flight deck and the hangar bay. So tomorrow when we get underway and we start flight operations, they'll start moving a lot of the aircraft down to the hangar bay, and it becomes a big game of Tetris trying to fit all the aircraft down here so that we can clear the landing areas and the runway to get the jets to start taking off. That's kind of the majority of it down here. Feel free if you want to take any photos next to the jets. You can use that as the backdrop. The Teamwork a Tradition is a nice backdrop as well. And take a few minutes, look around. Feel free to ask me any questions. We'll just kind of stay in the hangar bay 2 for the next few minutes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Flights of stairs. If you would not like to do that, feel free to stay in the hangar bay. Everyone else can be going up to the flight deck.
Cool. Follow him. our hats, huh?
Stairs.
Stairs, your favorite thing, right?
My arch enemy.
I don't think they cut the hole big enough for you, sir. You have to fall back.
Equal or push.
Too cool, man. Beware of the jet blast.
Yeah.
Freaking too cool. Wow. Group photo, group photo.
ระวังหัวระวังหัวมายืนตรงนี้เขาจะถ่ายรูปให้เห็นแบ็คกราวด์
Everybody gather up.
Son, come on in. Absolutely. There's a few things around the flight deck I'll kind of talk about. If you turn around behind you, you'll kind of notice the 4 windows going up. So the bottom level one, that's actually a camera that's inside of there. So all the flight operations, the takeoffs and landings, everything is recorded. It can be for history purposes. All the pilots get graded on their takeoffs and landings. So that's one way to kind of watch it around the ship. If you go one level above that in the glass, that's the Admiral's bridge. So that's basically the Admiral's space. That's a smaller version of the actual pilot house that's above it. The third one up, that's the actual pilot house or the bridge where they steer and drive the ship. And then the highest one is what we call Pry-Fly, basically where the control tower is for all the aircraft. And then kind of talking about the catapults and air operations. So as you know, we have 4 catapults. We have 2 in what we call the waist and then 2 over in the bow. The ones over on the bow, are kind of offset 7 degrees so that we can launch and recover aircraft at the same time. We're the only country in the world that can take off and land aircraft at the same time. The catapults, they take off in about 300 feet. They go 0 to 140 miles an hour in 2 seconds.
I can run about that fast.
Exactly. In the back, we have 4 resting gears. The wires that basically the tail hooks catch. So when they're coming in, on average, they're coming in about 120 miles an hour, and they'll come to a complete stop in 2 seconds. Out of the 4, as I'm sure some of you know, they're always aiming for the 3rd wire, because that allows for some room of error. If you're high or low, you can catch the 1st or 2nd or 4th if you're high. So a good landing means they catch the 3rd wire. We have the capability for a 5th position. Does anyone know why we would use the 5th wire? Has anyone seen Top Gun Maverick?
Yes.
It's for the barricade. So if they have to set up the barricade, that's what we use the 5th one for.
Ooh.
And then you'll notice some of the other aircraft up here. So we have 2 types of helicopters on board. The one where the tail wheel is all the way in the back, that's an MH-60 Sierra. They're primarily our search and rescue asset. So every time there are flight operations going on, we'll have a helicopter airborne that can be a quick search and rescue asset. The other type of helicopter we have on board is the MH-60 Romeo. That's primarily our anti-submarine asset, as well as our anti-surface asset. They have the really good radar to go high and above. The big bird right here with the big dome on top is the E-2C Hawkeye. The big thing on top is a radar. They're typically the first ones to take off and the last ones to land. If anyone knows American football, they're kind of like the quarterback of the sky. So they're directing other people where to go, and they're kind of the command and control aircraft in the air. The other thing you'll notice, our air wing is not what's considered the air wing of the future. We don't have F-35. We only fly F-18s. One of the reasons, our flight deck is not rated to support the heat of the vertical takeoff and landing. So some of the other aircraft carriers, you'll find the F-35s, but not on the Nimitz. I'm not sure if I talked about it, we can have up to 70 aircraft on board, and we have the ability to launch multiple aircraft within minutes, and we can fly for about 12 hours a day, so if you do the math, you'll get a relative idea.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the flight deck?
Can you fly one now?
Do you want to fly one? We're
No,
looking for a
you.
volunteer. Yeah. We're gonna draw names for a backseat ride.
Coming in.
So the captain of the ship, Captain Craig Sokola, he is also an F-18 pilot. So he occasionally still gets to fly, and whenever he goes flying, our XO, our executive officer, he'll be in charge of the ship while the CO goes and flies. He roughly gets to fly about once or twice a week, which is actually a fair amount for being the captain of the carrier. But the carrier itself is actually aviation dominant. So our commanding officer, our XO, our navigator, and our assistant navigator are all aviators. So the aircraft carrier is not run by SWOs, which are surface warfare officers. So that's a pretty interesting fact. Any other questions? If not, feel free to look around, take a few more minutes, and then we can get out of the heat.
You being Finn, okay, the extraordinary sailor that you are, I'm sure that you have the ear of the commander.
He's my golf buddy.
Here is a coin for him.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sure you are friends with the aviation wing commander.
Tag, yep, Captain Harris.
Here is a coin for him.
Okay.
I'm sure you are friends with the lowly life propulsion engineer.
Ooh,
Yes, say yes.
Yes, okay.
Here is a coin for him.
All right, perfect.
Did I leave anybody out?
I don't think so. We did Captain. You want Captain or Admiral?
You have one of those Admiral guys here?
Yeah, so Rear Admiral Sweeney's a 2-star.
Here's one for him.
Okay, perfect. I'll make sure they get that. out. I hope you enjoyed it. It was fun for our sailors to get to interact with some of you. I hope you got to see some cool things and take some cool photos. Our sailors have loved the hospitality in Thailand. I think they really enjoyed themselves, and it was a very successful port. So I just want to say thank you to everyone and for everything that you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
On behalf of VFW Sports, thank you. We have a certificate of appreciation presented to the officers and crew of the USS Nimitz. All right. Thank you for the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sure.
I have.
How do you?
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna get you. I'll send you an email.
Okay, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the ship's tour of the USS Nimitz carrier.
Please, hello, everyone. Thank you for watching.
At its most basic level, an aircraft carrier is simply a ship outfitted with a flight deck, a runway area for launching and landing airplanes. Carriers can move in excess of 35 knots, 40 miles an hour or 64 kilometers an hour, which gives them the ability to get anywhere in the ocean in a few weeks. Comprising nearly 1 billion distinct components, the American Nimitz-class mega aircraft carriers are some of the most intricate machines in existence.